spoken quite clearly. I'm interested in who and who carrying out the testing, and let me just add that in the mix. How far the world has gone in reducing stigmatization. I'm asking you this because you've spoken to quite some stakeholders, I believe. So what information have you extracted from them on how far the world has gone in reducing this question of stigmatization, and then who and who are carrying out the testing?
Well, like I said earlier, these stakeholders work with the government, they work with other NGOs to be able to find ways to raise more awareness and to also carry out testing, carry out counseling for people, especially in local government areas, in rural areas where, you know, most people don't like to come out to say, okay, they have this disease. And actually, some people don't even know that they do, because most times when you have HIV and AIDS, it comes with other symptoms, tuberculosis, you have a whooping cough and the rest. So most times, people do not even know that what they have is HIV and AIDS. And what these NGOs and stakeholders are asking for is that most people should come out to be tested. Once you are tested and you know your status, it will be easier to get either counseling or to get treatment depending on what the results are after the testing. So these testings will be done in facilities, in rural areas, in local government areas, of course. And most times they find areas where the chief of the local government is, or local government secretariats, where people, like key places where people can easily find access to be able to go there for testing and for counseling. So like, for example, today we're going to a place called Lugbe in the FCT, where the chief has given us access to his palace, and there will be a testing center there, and the whole day, today and tomorrow, will just be mainly for testing and counseling of people within that vicinity. And after, of course, there will be during the counseling, of course, it's more of raising awareness for also people who are living around there. No matter what your test results will be, negative or positive, you will still need to be counseled on the fact that every 6 months you should still go back and get tested, or, you know your status constantly.
Koya, I saw you nodding your head when she was talking about many people do not even know. How are you people handling that aspect?
Okay, as youth-friendly, partnering with Madam Felicia also, the Ministry of Health gave us a mandate because the youth-friendly is just for adolescents alone. And sometimes when they have some of those issues, sometimes when they begin to have some symptoms, they just feel like, who should I talk to? Yeah. Sometimes they feel like if I tell mom may skin me alive and everything. So once they walk to the youth-friendly centers and they tell them, these are the things I'm experiencing, then we carry out counseling. We do a pre-counseling before carrying out the test. Okay. And after the test, if we discover that the person is positive, then after the testing again, we carry a post-counseling. Then also tell them that we have a support group that's where you can join. And when you join the support group, you would also meet people who are living with HIV, and they can also enlighten you. And it's quite unfortunate that so many, sometimes when you tell them about HIV, they tell you, it's better I don't even know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's better I don't
even know. When you tell them you need to go for HIV test, they tell you it's better I don't even know. And you ask them why. They'll tell you because once I know, that means I'm going to die. And then you need to counsel. Tell them, okay, you know your HIV status, your positive does not mean
so that's the reason for the pre-counseling.
Yes, sir.
To get their paradigm to shift in case they have it.
Yes.
It would have shifted before. Then they're able to do the testing, like you said. All right, George, Kemi didn't really actually touch that question. The question of stigmatization, we talked about it, you mentioned it earlier on. How far has the world gone in reducing this particular, because I think that's one of the major problems of people suffering with HIV and AIDS. That's why they don't want to get people to know the stigma attached to it.
Well, frankly, I must say, I think the stigmatization is still there, and you know, so long as there are not, you know, much awareness in terms of, you what this is, and how it could be managed. The stigmatization definitely will still be there. So basically, just like what Koya has said, the whole idea and the initiative of Madam Felicia is to bring, is to make this thing very simple, because one thing that we've discovered is that, just like she rightly said, how many people actually want to go to get tested? And sometimes you have symptoms and you don't even know who to ask. There are people, just like she rightly said, who are living with this virus in them and they don't even know. There's people who they have certain symptoms that they are worried about. They don't know who to ask. They can't walk into the youth-friendly center to get tested or ask. So what Madam Felicia is doing is bridging the gap, making it very simple, so that people can just come up there. They just ask the question, and from there we start the pre-counseling. From there, it is even easier to bring them, for a real kind of test. Yes.
All that. All right. Let me hold it there, George and Koya. Let me get back to you, Kemi. Let's look at the modes of transmission. This is very important because when you know the road to where you're going to, it becomes easy to get to the place. When you don't know the road, that's a problem. You will never eventually get to the place. What are the primary ways and secondary transmission modes? Let's talk about that so that people, especially the youth like Koya and George have said, can at least know. I mean, if we have to say it 100 times, we'll have to say it 100 times. Yes?
Yeah, really, Indy, we have to keep saying it more than 100 times, because most people still are, I don't know, would I say still naive or ignorant about the fact that they are little processes that actually make transferring of HIV and AIDS quite easy. First of all, what they keep drumming and drumming is sexual intercourse, unprotected sex. And apart from that, you also have blood transfusions. If you use on-screen blood, you can also, if you share needles or you share corticals or scissor or razor blades and stuff like that. Now, this virus can not survive more than even 2 minutes outside the body. So once this virus gets into the bloodstream and the system, then it has a host. So most times, of course, protect yourself. Don't have unprotected sex. Always use screened blood. I know that these days hospitals will not even be so careless to give any, like especially for blood transfusions, without actually screening the blood and checking the donor. So most times when you donate blood, it in fact is even a way for you to be sure of your status if you go and keep donating blood, because they would not even take blood from someone who is infected. And when you go to salons, like I know that most men now, when you use clippers, everybody has his own, or you have your own bag of clippers and you go to the barbing salon and you use it, which is actually, it actually helps, because that way you're not sharing anything with anybody. And you make sure they are sterilized. You have to sterilize everything that cuts, or if you're at risk of cutting anyone, just sterilize. Now these things are the key issues that I mean, the day-to-day things that help to transmit HIV and AIDS. But of course, as the years have been going by, a lot of people are aware, and they keep, finding ways to cut down on the transmission by protecting themselves. But of course, stakeholders still want to ensure the fact that people need to be aware of what to do to protect themselves. No unprotected sex. Always use a condom. Don't use unscreened blood. Do not share. Do not share razor blades, syringes, or anything that can cut through the skin with anybody who you are not even sure of. Even if you're sure, it's better safe than sorry.
better safe than sorry, really. Even if you're sure, just do the necessary, the needful, like they say.